Hello everybody, and welcome to this Hyperwar documentary. I just want to thank you all for 1,000 subscribers, and as promised, I will now divulge information on the Finno-Korean Hyperwar. Now you must know that many of this information comes from ancient blood memory and runestones that have traveled around the world to find. Now many of these runestones line mountains in the Hindu Kush in Afghanistan. And that was a whole ordeal. The Nephilim protected them. I had to go tell the United States government about it. If you want to Google it, you can Google US soldiers finding giant in Afghanistan. That's on your own discretion. That was on me. Sorry for the information get out. What I want to tell you guys is it's not biased. I have blood memories from both sides. I'm going to try to remain as factual and logical as I can. And these runestones, though, were kind of biased. I had to sift through them for years. Now, I digress. Whole long affair. No one really knows who fired the first quantum gravity beam at who, but we all know that the Finnish and the Huan were once ancient allies that traded, had many treaties with each other before the Hyperwar. Whatever ended this friendship, we'll never know. With the release of the Finnish Tyrannosaurus Rex, well, all bets were off at that point, and the Hyperwar began. In earnest. Now, everybody knows about the Hyperwar on Earth. Volcanic ashes that spewed from the laser beams and the gravitational energy quantum accelerators changed Siberia forever. But we're going to be focusing on the colonies in space, because after the first 100 years of warfare, the new theater was opened into space, into the colonies. Colonies of both empires were threatened with eternal warfare, so they had to develop all of these special units, these special strike forces. The Huan, of course, had their proto-Jedi Knights, and those were just the most amazing shock troops, let me tell you. What they can do when they land on a planet is one of the greatest things you could witness. Just able to take out a whole imperial government, whole proto-Finnic government on a colony in one strike. Now, of course, the proto-Finnic Holy Roman Cognate had their own shock troop, and that was the 85-meter tall Ursine Cavalry with mech warriors on top. That's where Master Chief comes in, but again, I don't want to go into a huge tangent. Now, after the colonies were threatened, most of these shock troopers were used as defense on a majority of their colonies. Like the Finnish had Sirius A, the Koreans had Sirius 95B. Those were two important colonies that unfortunately got glassed when an Imperial Commissar for the Huan got drunk, forgot which one was which, and shot both planets. I digress again. Not to say many of these shock troopers had their losses. I mean, the Jedi Knights suffered a massive setback after their 238th Civil War. Many Dark Jedi were formed. There's actually a whole movie series about it. I don't want to get into it. Listen, if you want to know deeper, just, you know the movies to watch. It's based off the Hyperwar, don't tell anybody, but it's based off the Hyperwar. The Ursine Cavalry, which was one of the biggest defects on any of the armies, they had to go into hibernation every winter. Now, I don't know if you guys know about space, but it's pretty cold. And so the Ursine Cavalry would sleep majority of the time. They would actually have to wake them up mid-battle as they go into hibernation. It was pretty wild. It was unbearable, if you ask me. Now, of course, let's not forget the crimes that took place by both. See, we're not going to be biased here. Or, we are going to be biased. No, we're not going to be biased. Now, I think we can all agree, no matter where you come from, Yuan Empire using ancient blood magic to turn the Tyrannosaurus Rex into a ravenous beast that only cared for primal urges, instead of the intellectual titan in general for the Proto-Finnic, was pretty low blow, turning one of the most intelligent, beautiful creatures on Earth, well, and space, into just this monster that eats people and gets loose in theme parks and attacks children in a Jeep. Very shameful. Yes, that movie is also based off the Hyper War, but that's a whole different thing. Listen, guys, once you start seeing all the details, you'll see them. Now, some runes do say that the reason why the Huans did this to the Tyrannosaurus Rex was because they were trying to get revenge for the attack on the Proto-Ninja School through the Finnish Proto-Finnish used hot water to superheat their school, the Proto-Ninja training school, and got them all sweaty and just dehydrated them to death. Although I heard they were very comfortable. Now, this is all taking place in a time period of 2,000 years. There was the Great Battle of Sperto, where, oh my gosh, that one was just disgusting. 15 Ursine cavalry, 200 Jedi Knights, and then the planet was glassed anyway. I think some of you guys in the comments can comment about where you guys were during the Battle of Sperto, or, you know, your ancestors were. Sometimes it feels like we're there ourselves in these dreams we have. Now, many colonized worlds were glassed as a show of force, revenge, sometimes just fun. It really is fun when they glassed the planet. I'll be honest, I have millions of records talking about how many planets were glassed because it gave a cool light show. Now, after the war, many of the colonies left their notable technology and everything was just abandoned. Now, I hope you guys realize how much technology developed before the Hyperwar. We had up to 90 million science units before the Dark Ages of the Hyperwar. 90 million science units. When there was a gap left by the Hyperwar Dark Age, we almost came down to 300 science units. And all that technology is probably still out there. It's a crying shame. It really is. Now, we're not here to discuss the end of the war, mainly because that ended on Earth and that took about 2,000 years. We all know the Great Huan Empire was destroyed and reduced to a peninsula, and we know that the Proto-Finnic had to retreat all the way past the volcanic plains of Siberia and into these volcanic thermo baths where they stayed in hibernation until I believe the late 1200 AD. Now, during these colonial processes, during the wars, we'll talk about something like K-pop was created. They called it H-pop back then. Now, this was some, I don't know if, again, those movies based off the Hyperwar, there's a scene in, I believe, Jabba's palace in the special edition by the prophet George Lucas, where he adds this long-snouted woman singing a song. That's actually H-pop. Few know this, but that's the truth. Again, I can go into how much profit George Lucas did for the Hyperwar, but again, I digress. Whole different thing. And the Proto-Finnic had these pools, volcanic pools, where they would develop giants, which gave the Ursines their gigantism. If there's any more runes that you guys have found, any more information, by the way, that you have found, I have sort of just been doing this by myself. I've been looking for scholars, but every time I go to a college with this information, they say, get out, who are you? You don't have a badge, how did you get in here? Crazy stuff like that. They mention how, what are you talking about? I tell them about Genghis Khan and Julius Caesar, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Jackie Chan. But they just give me these, I'll be honest, these NPC stares. When I bring up the T-Rex, they just stare off in the distance like, what is this guy talking about? As if they don't read a history book or read a rune book. Anyways, if you guys have any more information of your blood memories, write them down in the comments. I could really use them just to progress my theories. Now this time-lapse is mainly based off of the Third Era Colonial War, near the end of the Hyperwar, when they tried a massive expansion. And also, they came to blows for the final time and space, destroying the final colonies. I hope you guys enjoyed this time lapse. I hope you guys enjoyed this documentary, this information, lore dump, if you will. And again, if you guys have any more blood memories, comment them in the comments. Give this video a like. Thank you again for 1,000 subscribers. Amazing. There's gonna be way more videos, probably more Dig Out the AI videos, and more Crusader Kings. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.